Alright guys, we're going to play a fairly conventional opening into a timing push involving Rams. So I've picked Greeks here. I've actually seen Ares play a very similar playstyle to what I'm about to do with a lot of success, sometimes into me, which is quite annoying. So thanks for that, man. So we're going to open up with quick second town center, or you can also do this off a spearman first and then follow up town center opening, which I've covered in some other videos, and you know, you'll probably run into it fairly often. What we're going to do is work towards a fairly quick age 3 while also getting some age 2 army out, sort of like a semi fast age 3 if you will.
Yes.
So we're going to get villagers onto the hunt now. Just check up the back here, see if there's anything of importance up there. Maybe another, yeah, stone mine, something. Any berries or anything over the back? No. We're going to scout out what our opponent's doing, always a good idea. I'm a bit greedy with the scouting, I'll be honest. I'm not the world's best at actually using scouting to figure out what my opponent's doing. I'm pretty lazy in that regard. But yeah, we're going to open up pretty conventionally here on Ghost Lake, so it's actually going to be one of the harder of the small maps to actually make this sort of build work, because I'm going to want to actually proxy the siege workshops. I know I pumped out a lot of proxy videos lately, so it's probably a bit annoying, but this one we're actually going to play something a bit more sensible in the early to mid game, that's not going to be so game ending if you don't manage to pull it off, because it's really only going to cost you a moderate amount of resources, but at a stage of the game where you've got a fairly high number of workers. So we're going to go up to 13 villages here. Okay, 3 storehouses, age up, stone gathering, switch some villages off. There's gold here, so nothing really out of the ordinary. Figure out what he's doing now. It's actually probably over his side of the map. Oops. I've eaten up a bit of scouting time. I probably didn't need to though. Got the age up going. Transfer a villager. Maybe transfer one a little bit from now. Just want to make sure we get the food to get handsaw pretty early here as well. That's always really nice to have for a 13-ville town center opening. Opponent's gone spears, but the noob AI is not gonna push me, I don't think. Just gonna sit tight for the moment. Transfer another villager. Probably could have transferred it slightly sooner, but it's no big drama. Handsaw. And I mean, I can guard gold mine. I'll probably put it on this hunt actually. Check that gold mine too. So I might go about doing that. Actually start my gold gathering now. Go back on food eco, which is always important. You want to make sure you're gathering enough food in order to sustain 2 villager production from here. This may be a little slow to fit that town center in before your first house, so we'll go for that. Make sure we're not going to get population capped. We've got the stone we need, we've got the wood we need, and we'll go the town center. Obviously, if your opponent's pushing into you with his spears, you can put this right on your close gold mine or on your berries, or right next to your wood line. Anything like that. It's all going to be useful for you. Being a bit slack and not actually scouting him, but I mean, I know it's AI. Unlikely to move out on me terribly quickly here. In fact, we've gone slightly too many on the food. Start a little bit of gold gathering. Not too much. We want to make sure we've actually got the wood for military production. There's 3 trees here, actually on that first hunt, which is quite nice. AI's actually pinched all the center sheep off me, so done a pretty crappy job at scouting. But he's already gone for a lot of towers, so at this stage, you know, I mean, a player would probably commit to a second town center before these towers, but you know, I'm just sort of going to showcase what you do in either situation, basically. So we're going to go for some of our military production. Greek versus Persia. I want to get that barracks out, defend against the early Asabara. While also, why not fucking lose your scout? Grab loom. It's probably good against Norse or Persia, particularly as a civ like Greek or Egyptian, where you're probably going to be playing defensively to start with. Yeah, barracks and range. Maybe skip the stables for now. Just have some initial defenders. Because we're eventually going to need a third hunt here. So come all the way down and grab it, actually. The beauty is you've got the spear production, so we can send these guys in a couple of directions. Work towards a fairly quick age 3, so we can work on a ram push, because with Greek, you're generally going to be the defender in most situations where you aren't going for some sort of silly early game proxy or delayed second town center situation. You just rally everything here, maybe even keep your Toxotes away, or even just stack them up with the spears. Obviously, these hunt positions are a bit rough on this map, so I guess it's sort of a good showcase. You can work towards your age 3 from here. Just get enough spears and tox just to really keep yourself safe. We fit in wheelbarrow here, actually. These guys back to work. They're going to age 3, haven't got a huge amount of forces, but most of the time, particularly in sort of against Persia or Norse, they'll just be trying to tickle your eco, particularly your food eco here. Try and actually kite this over towards. So now that this hunt's just about finished, we send these guys to the gold, send these guys to the wood. Eco should be pretty balanced. Always, if you've got upgrades like age ups in queue, you know, start training out of something else. Oops, I've killed him too far over, but doesn't really matter. So we're really just keeping anything not in town center range safe from Asabara raids, or if we have to just buy time for all these villages to be safe. Actually, to make sure we've got enough military production. Greek 111's pretty nice to have. It's always fairly smart to aim for. So we can go for a third town center here, or we can just do this off the back of second town center if we want. Town watch is also pretty useful just to keep everyone safe. I'll be gathering a little bit on the food, so we'll get some more wood. Got a lot of guys outside of town center radius, so this is a little bit dangerous here. But we can go for a third town center down here, actually. I was going to do this as second town center, but we'll go third, and we'll get some hoplites. So, Hypaspis, this isn't the sort of matchup you really want them. They're a great unit to actually have against the civs that have counter infantry of their own, because they can really hold their own. They're slightly weaker than the others, but at the same time, they're still a really nice unit to have, and they save you on Toxotes. So if your opponents are really investing heavily in cavalry, you can sort of just switch things around on them by having Hypaspis and Spearmen, or if you've got quicker age 3 than them, Hypaspis Hoplite. Prodromo is also really nice. So we'll get this third town center, and we'll also look at pushing out with our quick rams. And we can get an armory here now as well. Try to get armory upgrades while we take a good fight. We know our opponents play pretty turtly, haven't done a great job at actually scouting him throughout all this, but we can push out to sort of test the waters, maybe try and hit from an angle where there hasn't been any towers sighted yet. We'll try and move out up this way. Always try and attack move your army whenever you're moving them around. You don't want to have them just die to random shit. It's always annoying. It's something you really don't want to have happen. We can take this down here. This guy's back on the food. If you can, try and actually pull the villagers off the resource you've got most in the bank to actually build any houses that you've got to emergency build with a lot of units. So we don't really want to overextend here because he's got a lot of towers, but now that we're age 3, we're going for a fairly quick age 3. We're already on 3 town centers, so we're going to have a really quick eco boom behind all this. We've already got Siege Workshop placed pretty aggressively. We can possibly even go for a second. Ares is actually pretty likely to use 2 when he does this sort of style. And I mean, knowing towers are so heavily used here, we can just get our ranged armor. It's nice to have in the face of that. Otherwise, you know, getting either of your damage upgrades, whatever you've got more of, whether it's infantry or range, or melee or range, get that damage upgrade. But in this case, we're going to go shield rim because it probably ties in well against this sort of comp where we can just escort the rams. We don't have to worry about the rams killing everything before we rock up, because that's never really going to happen. Your opponent's going to be able to focus down the rams if you take too long to actually clear out all this shit and then take the fight with everything. So we can probably, philosophy, really nice for Greek, research time reduction. Go discipline, get that behind it. Add a second armory here. Maybe you can get a little bit more stone on the way. And at this point, I've got a good number of Toxotes, so I probably don't want to get too many more until I'm pretty much ready to start really maxing out on population. So we can start ready to push the Prodromos. We'll send them to go and check out what he's doing. I really probably could have done a better job at some of these watch posts up as well. Always nice for intel. As you can see, I'm training villagers up to about 85 to 100. So anywhere sort of in there is, I think, really the sweet spot for eco. Just make sure you're getting upgrades. Philosophy is going to mean they train a lot faster than they do on the other civs. Ashlar Masonry is really nice to have against civs like Kelp, who are notorious. And I mean, I'm just going to back out here. I know he's got just as much stuff as I do there. But if we can bait a fight against the Asabara, I will, because the Prodromos are actually stronger. And we'll just start spamming the rams now. Try not to lose any of them. So that's been a pretty successful fight. Even though we didn't really raid any eco there, we had a really positive trade overall. Make sure to keep adding production here. So, more... Probably don't want more wood gatherers. More stables is really nice to have here. It saves having to get more spearmen or hoplites. Because, you know, you don't really want to encourage too much immortal production from a Persia player. Don't get too many wood gatherers, so we'll just get these guys. Some of them onto the gold. A handful of them. These berries. And we're pretty much right to get ready for late game, but at the same time, we can just move out with a fuckload of rams, and there's not much you can do about it unless he's able to just outright destroy my army. And considering I won that earlier game trade with fast Prodromos up against the Asabara, which Persia's often going to get, but then, you know, if you open with spears, there's not much you can actually do unless you misplace them. So with Prodromos and hoplites as a front line, even though these Asabara counter my Toxotes, he's not able to get on top of them. Just keep producing more melee. and the Rams can just go nuts, clearing out his base. A player will actually try and fight with villagers against the Rams, and they're actually surprisingly strong, but, you know, he's pretty much relying on you not actually just folding him in half here with this push. But the moment you actually get ahead, you can look at just mounting a decisive push with a quick transition to Rams, a bit like what I've done here. So if you know your eco game's stronger than your opponent's, and he's not going to ray you to death, then you can basically just walk over him with Rams after a certain point in the game. And in order to get to that point with eco, it just takes practice, man. So just get in the habit, give it a go. And yeah, I've stopped at 100 vills. You can probably even add a third armory, get even more outposts, maybe even wall yourself in, and go to age 4. Might as well finish the game off from here. Nah, I won't put you through that, but I think you get the idea. I just need to add a fuckload more production now. So he has actually held out initially here, but I'm definitely in a great spot. Keep these upgrades going, particularly if you don't initially bust him from here. But you've got full map control, so just keep an eye on things with your Prodromos. Just stop any extra bill production there. Think about where we're going to get our markets. So we're set up for late game already off what was sort of a cheesy Ram opening, even though it hasn't dealt the damage we wanted. I might as well just push to win from here, eh? Pretty set to go to H4, which is good. Try not to tank too much this damage. And don't be afraid to split your Rams up as well. Like, the more difficult it is for him to kill your Rams, the easier time you've actually got to taking any other fight, and you can actually sort of sit back with your army to an extent, and then just sort of come in and clean up positively where he's still got some units to try and clear your Rams up, because they're so busy, like these spearmen here, trying to focus down a Ram that you just pick them off even with the units they normally counter, because they're just that fixated on killing your Ram. So go to age 4. And it's been a successful late game, even though we sort of went at it with a bit of a meme Ram forward workshop position. We never really let go of map control. So I hope you enjoyed, guys. And that's how you can get away with a fast Rams that leaves you ready to get to late game, no problem. Cheers for watching.